Director Zarita. Here. Sharif.
Here.
Chairperson Brown.
Yes.
Audience comment.
Mr. Robert Ray.
Thank you, Robert Ray Compton. Item number 2, I really hope someone can explain this. $40,000 for another plan. We have had so many plans around here. And I thought the transit center was completed because we're already talking about leasing out different rooms to different organizations. And now I want to spend $40,000 on the plan, something to do with the water assessment. So that needs an explanation. On number 5, this Maple Leaf Capital Group, are they taking the entire vacant property on that intersection? Or just part? Because this says 2,000. 2,000 was just one part of that property. So are they taking the entire property? And do we know what their plans are for the property? City Manager, do you know? 2,000 West Compton, are they taking the entire property, the entire corner? And do we know what they're doing with it?
We're going to give the report on it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Holyfield.
To the council, I'd like to say I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed, to the world, and the world is watching us. The council must be more uniform, must be more working together. That's number 1. Number 2, we have a bridge. Compton Boulevard is a very important boulevard, as we know, and there's a bridge there over that creek that was built in 1938. So within a year, it'll be repaired. It'll be lifted up about a foot or 2 feet, and then they'll raise the creek going toward Long Beach for flood purposes. I just found that information out today. We've been working on it for some time. And then again, I'm also disappointed, very disappointed about the light situation. We have a board member who was connected to the school system for a number of years. We have another person who was connected to that school system in terms of having walks around Walter Middle School and so forth. I'm very disappointed that there has been no more emphasis on that light than it had been. I am proud that the city manager had brought it thus far, but he has done nothing. I don't mean a green situation. First of all, we check with the sheriff department. We got the stats on that. The fire department, injuries and all that, we get the stats on that. That needs to be worked on every week until that light is corrected. Now, we'll say we don't have money. There was $20,000 a month coming from the casino. Now there's $100,000 a month, over $1 million a year, so we can tap into some of that money if you can't find any. The important thing is to save lives before it happens. That's why in the 4th District, we had to clean up that block all the way around to Bullis Road, all the way down to Long Beach Boulevard there. If we had to clean that up, lit it up, then perhaps the man wouldn't have been killed. Cut those trees, those hedges, and get rid of all those people hanging out over there. You created a ghetto look, and that's what happened. And I've been talking about those things. I was told they shut up talking about them because there was nobody listening. No way. I am very surprised. So let's work on that light. And we're going to do it another way, too, to give you some extra help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holyfield. Mr. Chatham.
To the mayor and to the city council, concerned about number 2 and the resolution of the successor agency to the community development department. The city of Compton authorizing the interim executive director to enter into a contract with establishing a purchase order with this company I don't know for implementation of groundwater assessment work plan required by the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board for the MLK Training Center for 40 grand. There's an issue with the governor that's coming about maybe another month or so to bring this big, massive plan to use about $60 billion to bring forth a new water project. And it's supposed to be coming all down the hills from San Francisco all the way down to us. And so we have been studying this with the Food Water Watch Committee, and they've been asking me to check out what's going on with our city, because we have a significant vote in that matter. So we want to know if that's a better project than what the governor is bringing forth. It seems to be something like that, because it appears to be groundwater assessment work. So what we're saying is that if the governor wins his battle, then our taxes on water is going to go up, up, up more, okay? They feel that it's better for the cities, particularly the 13 original cities that Mulholland started with this massive thing with water to make our better place a better efficient way with the water that's coming from the aqueduct and all that from Colorado as well. So what we're saying is that, is this going to be a better gender issue for our people to pay less water taxes? We don't want more water taxes because it's going to be abundant. They figuring like almost $100, $200 per resident. That is stupid. So he's trying to do this for his father initiative, but we don't need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joyce Kelly?
Actually, with this successor agency, I think you people are just playing games. You're not doing anything except tricking the public. What kind of development and what kind of jobs, what kind of people, what kind of contractors are you getting? Has anyone ever thought about going across the bridge or down the street to one of the other cities? Find out how much does it cost for every job to contract out of the city? I mean, you got to study. That's something you people there don't do. Excuse me, I know that's a fact because I've read some of your agendas, and the information and questions you ask are written in the agenda. So that shows me that I've caught a lot of you doing that. So you're not reading. As far as money is concerned, we don't need to spend any more money if we can't spend money on a Christmas parade. There have been so many events where money was not in the budget, as you said it should have been or could have been. But you guys have to stop playing around. What is this successor agency? What are you doing? What about those, that apartment structure on the laundry? No one's dealing with that. What about the people? What about the property on Compton Boulevard that makes Compton Boulevard look like a third world country? I've been telling you guys that for years, and it needs to be paved. So think about a Christmas parade, but when you look at me, you think about getting something done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Ms. Lamboon?
Limboon, City of Compton. Ms. Kelly, they're called unbudgeted items. First of all, I want to say that all the announcements that Ms. Brown made at the end, I haven't seen not one of those items come across this DS to be voted on. You know, the city and the people, we're responsible for paying the law enforcement. We're responsible for paying those city employees. Those items need to come across this DS. Are those items for the city? Are those items for her nonprofit? We need to make the difference and find out what it is, because we shouldn't be held responsible for paying for those anymore. And Mr. Groom, city manager, please don't pay Miss Angela Jennings, because the article that Mr. Chatham spoke of, that article was nothing but a total lie, and it was nothing about the entire city of Compton. Not one council person was mentioned. Not one elected official was mentioned, and it was just like the people here in Compton are so stupid, they don't know how to come out of a back door. So no, she does not deserve a dime. And before you give any more properties away or sign any more properties, I would like this council, this is on my platform, but I'm asking the council to do it first. Go and let's raise some fees on some of these permits, some of these contracts. You want to raise fees on the citizens, but let's raise fees on some of these people coming in the city to make some money. All of these businesses coming in here are walking over us, okay? I mean, they're scalping us because they're coming in and they're not paying anything. And Mr. Holyfield, I'm for it with you. We need businesses, but we need money too. Anytime you can raise a parking ticket, you should be able to charge these outside businesses some more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. And I guess we agree on one thing. That's why we implemented a fee schedule increase over a year ago. And this is something that has been underway for 2 years. And so, Mr. Grooms, do you have an update on when this is coming back to the council for action?
I'm looking to Mr. Torres.
I'll wait on the city controller on this one. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, with regard to the fee study, Wildan and Associates, as you know, conducted a fee study last year. It started in 2015, completed their report in the spring of 2016. We reviewed it, and we questioned some of the numbers and asked them to recalculate. We met with the city attorney. The city attorney raised some concerns also. So what we did is we met with our staff again, our department heads, got additional information from them, redid the calculations ourselves for the most part, and then we provided that to Wildan and Associates so they could confirm the revised numbers. So we just received the report from them right before Christmas, and we're hoping to schedule a hearing with the City Council to review the proposed fee increases.
Thank you very much, Mr. Controller, for your update. I'm looking forward to those items coming back. It's been well over a 2-year process. Thank you. Ms. Lamika Pope.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, elected officials. I had something else to say. However, I feel the need to address Mr. Sanders, the City Treasurer. You know, your department is under investigation, meaning either you are involved with the embezzlement or you have no clue of what was going on in your department. With that said, to me, you're a liability to the taxpayers of Compton. If this crime would have been caught sooner versus later, I could and would piggyback off of what Ms. Loon, her comment last week saying how much integrity you had by turning this person in. However, I deem you just as guilty because it took too long for this to be caught. Instead of being humble and apologizing to the residents, you sit up there very cocky with an attitude, and you know, I find that hard to believe. So for me, if I ran a department and there was someone in my department that got caught stealing money, and this person was stealing money for years, I will hold myself responsible for that. So, you know, again, all the residents, they get up and they have so much to say. They talk about how much money they want to come into the city. Well, we need to pay attention to who's handling our money and where our money is going. This department handles our money. So if you live in the city of Compton and you pay a water bill or you pay any other fees for businesses, you need to understand that somebody stole our money. It was stealing our money, and nobody's talking about it. So I find it very hard to even find whatever you're saying serious because you're not talking about what's important here. So we can't have certain things in the city of Compton when we have people stealing our money. And if we have somebody running the department that doesn't know what's going on, a change needs to come. So thank you.
Madam City Clerk. Yes, Mr. Treasurer.
Just let me just make one brief comment. First of all, I'm not going to take any responsibility for something I didn't do. That's stupid. The person got caught, we caught him. Now, the responsibility of people reviewing my stuff is the controller's office. They review all the activity that goes on. If they're not verifying my work, then what? You have a CPA firm that comes in and audit. They didn't catch anything. We caught it in the treasurer's office. And investigation, let's set the record straight. Before that day, Mr. Sanders contacted the FBI and they came on my request. Let me say it again. The FBI came on Mr. Sanders' request. And I apologize to you, Mr. City Attorney, because that day he asked me, he said, what's the nexus between why would the FBI, and I didn't know what he was going to say. I thought maybe he might throw some lawyer stuff. But the nexus is that if you have or receive 5,000 or more of federal funds, it doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, it doesn't matter who you are, the FBI can come in and take over the investigation. And I knew this. And the agents, I have, listen, 24 years in the business, I have some contacts also too. And so the agents who interviewed us also said that either that Wednesday or that Thursday they had contacted Captain Thatcher and told him that they were taking over the investigation. But it was on my request, okay? Now, it's inappropriate for me to talk about something. Yes, not only my office is being investigated, but also they're investigating in the controller's office, because I don't know if this person was in cahoots with anybody. Do you know that? I don't know that. So everything has to be investigated out. And it's not appropriate for me to go around and talk about, like some folks who want to make and politicize this. This is not about political. I'm not hiding from anything. I'm not trying to trick anything. And let the truth hit it, because that's the way I've always been. Let it be known. But, you know, to sit up there and make that kind of erroneous, wrong statement, but you're entitled to your opinion, but you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have any clue. Only I know, and as well as one or two of staff, what took place that day. And if it has been going on for years, how come none of these other places caught it with their responsibilities to do? You had, now the former, you have the interim city controller. He wasn't here, but he told you that they're 2 to 3 years behind in bank reconciliation of the treasurer's office? Are you kidding me? I still can't wrap that around my head. And unless you're doing and verifying the activity that goes in my office on a daily basis, and maybe this guy might have been smart enough and knew that there are lacks of controls that are going on around in the city, and he took advantage of it. I'm not saying that for a fact, but that could have happened. So, yes, the FBI is there. Yes, we have a forensic auditor, and some people are trying to politicize this because it's election time. Listen, if the good Lord wants me to be out of this seat, it'll happen. But it'll be on his will, not because of something I did or didn't do. Again, I didn't take it. We and another staff person, we uncovered it. The person was arrested, and let the investigation take its course. And then we're all going to find out. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Treasurer. Madam Clerk?
Approval of minutes. So moved.
Is there a second?
Ms. Sharif.
I'll step from the chair to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Director Zarita.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
Chairperson Brown.
Yes.
Item number 2 under new business is a resolution of the Successor Agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Compton, authorizing the interim executive director to enter into a contract with and establish a purchase order for Tetra Tech Base for implementation of groundwater assessment work plan required by the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board for the Martin Luther King Transit Center site in the amount of $40,000.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Question to you. So, you said the mayor sits on the Delta Board where the big project is coming from. Have they even, has there been any discussion yet on any tax increases for local folks like us?
No. The Delta Stewardship Council, I just resigned 12/31, but the board is responsible for overseeing the water fix, and so it's more of investment, regulatory, but not taxation. But I did understand that there were recent fee increases, from MWD, and that there are additional increases planned. And I know you also sit on the MWD board, so I know that there are additional increases planned. And also there has been an increase with sativa as well.
But is the project in the stages to begin soon? Has it all been approved?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Roll call?
Director Zarita.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
Chairperson Brown.
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Successor Agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Compton, rescinding any and all prior resolutions concerning authorized signatures on the certain accounts and authorizing certain persons as authorized signatories on the same accounts.
Is there a motion on the item?
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Director Zarita.
No.
Sharif.
Yes.
Chairperson Brown.
Yes.
That fails for lack of a majority. Item number 4 is a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Successor Agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency, authorizing the investment of monies in the Local Agency Investment Fund of the State of California and taking certain actions in connection and updating the list of authorized persons.
Is there a motion on the item?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Director Zarita.
No.
Sharif.
Yes.
Chairperson Brown.
Yes.
Fails for lack of a majority.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I just want everyone to understand that the person who allegedly have done this is still on legal documents because you didn't purge the name, okay? I don't know how stupid that is, but that's pretty freaking stupid, you know? So I've done my part, can't do anything else.
How stupid it is trying to pass the buck and not know what's going on in your own department. Now, if you wanted to be smart about it, you would have brought a resolution to remove that accused employee without adding somebody else on. Now, that would have been smart.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 5 is a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Successor Agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Compton, authorizing the interim executive director to execute an exclusive negotiation agreement between Maple Leaf Capital and Successor Agency for disposition of certain Successor Agency property located at 2000 West Compton Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Just for the sake of transparency, Mr. City Manager, could you just describe this project, location and impact?
Sure, Mr. Graves will tell you all you need to know.
Thank you very much. Mr. Graves?
And maybe some things you didn't want to know, but Madam Mayor, members of the board, 2000 West Compton is a very prominent parcel at the western gateway to the city. It's at the corner of Compton and Central, and the agency over the years had acquired a total of 3 parcels on that corner, which we're calling for simplicity this 2000 West Compton. Back in mid 2015, the agency sent out an RFP for developers. It's one of the most prominent sites the agency owns. A number of proposals from very well-known developers was received. An interagency panel did evaluate them and selected Maple Leaf Capital as the most qualified and best suited for this transaction. There is material on that firm in both the staff report and a separate brochure. As the successor agency, you are required by state law to dispose of non-housing properties at fair market value. And the fair market value of this property has been determined to be approximately $2.3 million. The recommended developer is prepared to pay cash for that. And before you count it, the bad news is that very little of it will go to Compton. Under the state dissolution law, the proceeds from this sale will be sent to LA County, who will reallocate those funds to taxing agencies based on their share of property tax revenues. So the city will get about 16% of that figure to go into the city's general fund. The bulk will go to the county and to the school district. The developer is proposing a very nice shopping center there. It addresses a number of issues in that part of town, mainly the food desert that exists there. There is not a supermarket within a mile of that site. The developer has a letter of interest from a major supermarket chain to go on that site. As a financial transaction, it is very straightforward. The developer will be paying cash for the site. There's no financing. And we hope that we will be able to complete negotiations for a purchase and sale agreement very quickly. When that is done, the matter will come back to this board for review, but the final authority for the transaction will rest with the oversight board to the successor agency. And their main concern is, did we or did Compton receive the appropriate fee or amount for that property, because they're looking out for the taxing agencies. As a city council, you'll retain full land use authority over this project as it moves forward, but it is fairly well laid out in the staff material.
Thank you, Mr. Graves, for the presentation. I have one question and one issue, that the final approval of the project will rest with the oversight board, which is not this body.
That's
correct. That is a separate board. I have an issue with that. I think that that should come back to this body for review and approval if the project changes different than what is proposed here.
Madam Mayor, you will see it again. The ultimate authority in terms of the transaction is the oversight board. But
I understand that.
It is this body that will be referring it there. So you will have another chance to review it, and you can make any comments on it. And again, you're not giving up your land use authority here.
I understand that. My issue is that in the past, we've had council take action and the oversight board proceed forward in a different direction without checking back with the council or checks and balances in terms of if dates of agreements have changed, or for instance, if the ENA is going to be extended, those items would not come back to this body, or we necessarily wouldn't be notified unless a staff person provided that notification. Now, I'm saying this, I know your expertise is without being said, and also the integrity, but the issues that we have, you're an interim manager, as is Mr. Grooms. If someone else comes in, which someone else is going to be coming in, and there's a lag of communication or transition, that certain items do not come back to the council. That is my concern. If you have something else that would alleviate that, that's fine, but I just wanted to raise my concerns. Also, my question is, has any member of city staff visited a Save-A-Lot?
Yes, this one has.
Okay, you visited the Save-A-Lot?
I've seen them, yes.
Okay. Lastly, if this item is approved by the council, actually, let me go back before I go there. This RFP originally was issued in 2015, correct?
Correct.
And the RFPs were received in 2015, or were they received recently?
They were received, I believe the RFP was issued in July. The proposals were received, I believe, in September.
Of this year? Or
2015.
Of 2015, okay. As you know, a lot can change in terms of demand for properties, markets, and all of those things. So my concern is that we may not necessarily be receiving the best project for today's market, but I'll defer to your input, as I know you've been working on this project and probably will have more of an idea of the interest for this property as well.
Madam Mayor, as far as the value of the property, I do believe that the appraisal that was done is sufficient and accurate enough to go forward. As far as the demand, there was a good market for it then, as evidenced by the fact that 7 developers proposed, which And the proposed developer, who is here in the audience if you'd like to hear from him, has hung with the project. I met with him shortly after coming on board. I do know something about his company. And I believe they will move forward expeditiously in good faith. Madam Mayor, if I can go back on one point that you made, the procedures that we put into place now would provide that the council be notified of any changes in the conditions of the ENA, and the report that would come back to you with the purchase and sale agreement would detail any changes that have been made. So it would be a totally transparent process. I do believe in this case the ENA isn't going to be outstanding long enough to have any changes, but we'll have to see.
Okay. Thank you. Any additional discussion? Thank you, Mr. Graves. Roll call?
Director Zarita?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
Chairperson Brown?
Yes.
Good. Director's comments?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Director Zarita?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Director Sharif?
No, thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you. May we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second?
Roll call?
Director Zarita?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
Chairperson Brown?
Yes. Does it?
Yes. What did I say? The roasted chicken. There you go. Yeah. Wait a minute, I said it was cheaper.